You're listening to The Talent Sync, a collaborative podcast production from JobSync and the Surveil Candy Benchmark Research Program. The Talent Sync is about anything and everything recruiting and hiring. Literally the kitchen sink and how all things in talent acquisition work together, should work together, and how sometimes they don't. Now it's time to sync up with your hosts, Leah Daniels and Kevin Grossman. Today's episode is about AIO and SEO. Enjoy the podcast. Happy spring, Leah. How are you doing? Good to see you.
Nice to be seen. It's April. It was 30 yesterday, 70 today. It's amazing. And guess what?
What?
Kevin? Guess what?
What?
It's a birthday weekend. I'm going to be 31.
Are you really? Congratulations.
I know. I'm very excited about it.
Congratulations. I am not 31, so I won't even try to lie about that either. So there you go. Well, happy birthday to you. That's wonderful. Do you have any plans? Anything for the family?
Well, it's also Easter on my birthday.
Oh, that's
so
true. It is Easter,
my plans are Easter. So we're gonna dye some eggs, hunt some eggs, eat some eggs.
A
lot of egg-based activities, really, which is confusing with the bunny.
We did that when our kids were much younger and always enjoyed it. We're not, hopefully nobody takes offense. We're just not really an Easter family right now.
Oh,
so,
we aren't either.
but I mean, blessings to everybody who celebrates Easter for whatever reason. And but we just don't do the eggs anymore. We do some family things, but not related. But happy birthday to you. I think that's great.
Oh, thank you.
Hopefully the kids all made homemade cards for you and wrap presents and all that. Definitely no.
Definitely no on the homemade card.
Come
definitely
on.
no on the homemade card. No, we were definitely graduated past that.
All right. Okay, got it. They're older now. Well, anyway, that's great. That's good news. So let me segue us, and then you can start talking about what we wanted to talk about today. So we are both of our kids who are now teens, 15 and 17, are very anti-AI. And they so much so that they're constantly trying to educate mom and dad on the impact of AI. I mean, to be honest, without them being as much of a news junkie that I am, for example, they are very worried about their future, about the jobs, about the environmental impact of AI, which, by the way, which we don't talk a lot about. And I think, by the way, and I don't want to get diverged too much, but I think isn't Maine, they voted to ban data centers in the state. I believe I read that somewhere. Anyway, but long story short, they're very adamant, and they really get concerned when I'm starting, because I tell them we had a really honest discussion recently. I use it every day for work. I think you are going to, in some capacity, use it every day for your work. You want to go into marine science research, Bryce, you'll be using AI.
Yep.
And my oldest wants to be a teacher, and on some level, and I experience that now in our school district. But anyway, long story short, we were talking about a variety of those things. Then somebody asked something between my wife and I, and then, let's go do a search. And I'm like, Bryce, when you do a search now, the first thing that comes up are the AI results.
Yes.
And I go, you can choose not to, you can pick another tab to do that. And so we had a little discussion around that. But that is something that has really, I think, overtaken a lot of traditional marketing. All the optimization work that we all have done, and the marketing side for our websites, for our businesses, everything, right, and you can teach me this too, Leah, when I turn it over to you, but it's not dead, but man, is it on life support when we talk about organic search, I mean, versus AI optimization? So please share with what we want to talk about.
Yeah, let's actually talk about a lot of things that all are coming together at the same time, right? So it's early April, and the jobs report came out today.
Yes.
So super interesting data, right? The job numbers are up a little bit, 178,000 new jobs, which I put all the stars on at this point, right? In my mind, we're gonna reclassify this data again in a few months anyway. So I don't know if I believe it or don't believe it. I've just sort of stopped believing all of it. But what I did note, and I kudos to ZipRecruiter's labor economist. I think her name is Nicole Bouchard. I might be saying her last name wrong.
Sure.
Um, Putting to this really beautiful chart, noting very interestingly the extraordinarily large decline of native born Americans participating in the labor force, right? We're seeing a notable decline again. Now, we've had this slow decline that's been happening over time, a significant drop in 2020. Everything dropped in 2020.
Yeah.
And then it sort of came back up, not all the way to where it was before, but it's now declining again. At the same time, we're seeing actually the opposite happening with foreign born participation rate, which is increasing. So this is interesting to me because obviously these are percentages of increase and decrease, but the base number on both are very different, right? So the base number of native born
But
Americans
how
is
is that?
higher.
I mean, unpack that. I mean, because I dove in and not as explicitly as you did today, but to that report and the facets. And I was actually also reading Labor IQ's analysis
Oh, I've not read
of
that
the
one yet.
yeah, Mallory's. Oh, I really always enjoy hers. But my point is, how is that even possible? Because according to the data, I mean, immigration flow is at it's at its lowest point, right? That we've
Yeah.
seen because of the policies, and everybody knows that. But how is that even possible then to have
Well, I mean,
the
part of it's simply the fact that we're still seeing non-trivial layoffs. I mean, Oracle
right?
announced, was it
I know
yesterday,
it's like 30,000. Yeah,
30,000 out of 160,000 people that
yeah,
work at Oracle, 162, something like that. 30,000 got notices. I mean, we are seeing non-trivial layoff numbers coming out of the market right now. And I think so all of that is telling me some things, which is the number of candidates coming into the market, and in particular, more sophisticated candidates are coming into the market because that's where we're seeing the layoffs come from.
yeah.
And those numbers are getting bigger, and the number of jobs and opportunities for people to throw their hat in the ring to is slowed, and we're starting to see those numbers continue to slow. And companies are taking longer to hire. Their opportunities to hire at all are less. So we are seeing this convergence again, which happens every number of years, where the number of opportunities is far smaller than the number of people who are interested in those opportunities.
Very much. Yeah.
And this all comes to the topic that we were talking about earlier today, which is what does that mean for a company who is looking to hire but maybe not looking to spend money in their hiring practices? Like, I would like to get organic traffic. I think I should get free traffic for these jobs that I am going to hire for, right? Because there's lots of candidates, and there are lots of people that may in fact want to work for me. Can I use search engine optimization? Can I use organic? Can I use AI to get me the right candidate to
So
hire?
so how let me so because before we started, you said maybe organic potentially rises from the ashes. And before you explain that, I mean, the right again, you already highlighted this past 12 months, higher activity is still low. It's very concentrated in healthcare and only a couple of other industries for the most
Yep.
part. Um, even when these numbers potentially get adjusted, also one thing I read too is that some of the March numbers are before the full-blown Iran war
Yes.
and the impact on the economy, the global economy, and on hiring there. And so how? Because I had one of our every month we have a candy community call, and we have different CA leaders that either currently participating in our benchmark or have in the past come and we talk shop about different things. And one of the things that we had just talked about this last month that kind of came up was the rise again, which you and I have talked about many times, of AI powered candidates, fake candidates, candidates that are using AI to try to be seen more. Again, in a lot of different areas, and they're still, for compliance reasons, companies are still posting jobs. They have to list, um, all those things. But I mean, this is some large companies that were telling me. I mean, they're sourcing more than ever. I mean, they're going
Yeah.
and using networking, and they're posting jobs, but those jobs aren't. I mean, those candidates that are coming in are mostly not qualified. It's always been the unfortunate thing anyway with the volume, but now with more people in the market. So so now, sorry, going back to again, how can an employer even leverage organic now? Because isn't AI touching everything we do online? Period.
But I think we should start by being real clear about the word organic.
Yeah,
It's actually a
yeah.
really interesting question, right?
Yes, yes.
So when I talk to employers and they talk about their organic traffic, they almost always mean the unpaid traffic that they might get or candidates they might get from a LinkedIn or an Indeed or a ZipRecruiter job board. Typically, they're thinking through the lens of the job board,
Sure. Okay.
right?
Yeah.
And that is one kind of free, quote unquote, free traffic. Now, to be clear, those organizations, while lovely, are not altruistic. They are not in the business of free. So if they're giving away something free,
Who
it's
knows? ZipRecruiter, Indeed.
LinkedIn,
You like that? Yeah, well,
the
that's
big job
true.
boards.
Well, and ZipRecruiter, they've been kind of talk about being on life support. I mean, I don't know. I mean, in regards to earnings and other
Yeah, I mean, it's
that's
kind of
another
like saying
story.
that Monster was on life support in
Yeah, I know.
in 2010. It's like a
Right,
Titanic, right? It's not
sure.
Titanic. It's not going to go down in a
Well,
minute, right?
and no offense, to ZipRecruiter. I mean,
Yeah,
everybody's trying to stay in business right now and stay alive. So
yeah.
back to what you're
It,
saying.
so, but my point is that those none of the job boards are altruistic organizations. They do not give you
Of
free
course.
candidate traffic out of the kindness of their hearts.
No, of course
It
not.
is
Right.
part of the business strategy. And the
Sure.
biggest part of the business strategy is that they do recognize that candidates are the product in which they provide. And therefore, they need to keep those people happy, give them jobs that they want to apply to. And if,
Sure.
to your point, if the only jobs that are really need people are in healthcare and in construction, that's where they're probably getting a lot of their revenue. But if a tech worker comes by, you might have to give them a job to look at that isn't getting any revenue for you because this is part of your your engine that makes the whole business work.
Sure.
So you have this thing called organic traffic. We all call it organic.
Yes.
But then we also have this thing called SEO, right? So when we talk about SEO, well, that's where like Google, for example, might give you free traffic, free beings. People click on your
Well,
content.
because content is what was been king and queen for a long time, but
Sure. And they
not
have, and that's
is that
different than
still the
Google.
case now though?
100%.
Okay. All
Hasn't
right.
changed. I don't think
Okay.
that's changed.
Okay. All right.
I think there's a couple of things to unpack there. So there's Google, and there's Google for
Yeah,
jobs,
yeah, yeah,
and there's
yeah.
Google advertising, which we call SEM, search engine marketing. So Google Jobs, I would say that's more like your organic idea. Somebody sees a job, they click on it, they interact with it, and then they may get to your website or somehow indicate that they're interested.
Yeah.
But when we get to SEO, that's your classic Google. And it likes freshness, it likes newness, it likes content that answers a question that somebody has typed into their search bar. I'm literally looking at my Google right now, and it says, "What is the total number of open jobs in the U.S.?" Because I asked it a question. I
Hmm.
didn't. I didn't tell it to go find the information in a way where it was directive. It was more like ask a question,
Yeah.
which is an interesting observation because I want to get back to it in one more second, which is the last piece, which is AI now is all in the mix.
Yes.
You and I are talking about this. You put anything into Google, and Gemini is like, hold on, let me give you an AI overview first.
That's exactly that's like the default now.
Can't get away from it, even when
It's
you
the
try.
default. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so you've got this AI thing in the middle of it too. And what is coming out of all of this is that there are really two buckets. You have bucket one, which are job boards, which we rely on very clear job content
Yep.
and job posting. You should endeavor to make your job posting structured so that the boards will interact with that content and provide you some of that free traffic that they have. It's really excess traffic is the way I think about it. And that's because, again, they're not altruistic. They don't want to give you free traffic. So it's going to
Right.
be something that's excess, or we call it remnant, right? If you're thinking about it from a marketing side, or you want to go to the search engines and even AI, right? So either a Gemini or a ChatGPT or whatever it might be, and that's really about answers optimization. Can you answer a question?
Time for a Talent Sync break. The Talent Sync podcast is brought to you by JobSync and the Surveil Candy Benchmark Research Program. The Candies helps you and your organization measure and understand your overall candidate experience ratings from pre-application to onboarding. Benchmark your candidate experience today. Go to surveil.com/CANDS candies.
Can your content answer a question? Well, jobs can answer some questions, but actually your career site can answer most. So if you're a company and you're really thinking about how do we get efficient in helping our candidates find us so we don't have to go find them, right? Then what we want to do is provide answers to the market. So start thinking about your website in terms of a call and response, question and answer. And so if you do that, if you build your website, for example, if you're looking to hire tech people, for example, you might have a page about like what it's like to work here as a technology professional. What's our average degrees look like? What does our workforce look like? Lots of questions that someone might ask in their quest to find a position. You want to help elevate your business above everyone else, and you can see that in ChatGPT if you play with it. You can see it in Gemini. You can see it in these systems that are out in the market now, and it's a
So,
good way for you to get free candidates.
so
Go ahead.
got it. So is that then what is there still a place for career site microsites then in that regard? So, and I say that because I know a few years ago that was something that some companies that I know were experimenting with where um it was a way to create a specific little microsite around IT positions, around whatever but they were hiring for, and then using it in a variety of ways. I mean, is that still the kinds of content then what you're talking about, whether it's on the main site or not? Is
I
that
would.
what's helping to drive that organic, what you're calling
I,
organic
I
traffic?
I think that the microsite that's off, that's not part of your main site, does not help you. I think keeping everything on one domain is actually important because the domain itself has weight. And I think the
Yeah, but it
second
could be,
piece,
it still could be part of the domain. It's a separate URL that,
but like,
well,
is it
yeah,
LinkedIn or is it
anyway,
an
I
island, right?
I
Like,
hear
it's
you.
really about how you
Sure,
structure it
sure, sure,
a
sure.
bit.
Okay.
But I think the biggest thing is search engines, AI engines, all of them love freshness. They love fresh. They love newness. So to the degree
And
that
that's
you
and
can,
that's been the case now since even pre-COVID. I know on the content side. Again, some of this kids was above my pay grade, but we did a full when I still had talent board, we did a full search engine optimization project and creating pillar pages and content to help, triangulate the organic search that went on. I mean, but and with lots of different kinds of content. And you're right, the fresh content that's not repeated either
yes,
across, and does that still hold true then with the algorithm for Google, for example, as far
yeah,
as you know?
overall, as
Okay.
far as I can tell, it
Okay.
does like new, clean, unique content. But one of the things you can do with your jobs is make sure you are continually refreshing. I was talking to a
Right.
company the other day, and I'm looking at their jobs, and they are years old.
Yeah, yeah,
I was
get
like,
them
"Well,
off.
why are they 3 years old?" They're like, "Well,
Right.
we're always hiring for salespeople." And I was like, every once in a while, it's a good idea just to close that down and start over,
Just refresh
right?
it. Right.
Start all over,
Even if it's evergreen, right? Once in a while,
right?
refresh and
Give it new life.
got it, got it. And that
Yep.
includes the descriptions, the content around that too, right? As well.
Ex-
Because this,
exactly.
yeah,
And I think the descriptions are good, but right, it's funny because I always laugh. I always say candidates don't read descriptions because they don't.
no.
I think they read them oftentimes right before that
They
first phone
scan
call.
them. I don't know if they read them, and they may look
Right.
at. Well, I mean, if it again, yeah,
But
but yeah,
search engines and AI engines read
of
descriptions
course they do. Yeah,
because they don't know how not to. And so, right, if you're thinking about it, like you think about your description for your reader and you're like, oh, my candidates. Well, maybe you shouldn't. Maybe you should make it for Google a little bit more than you should make it for your candidate. Not that you shouldn't make it for the candidate, But remember who's going to read it.
But if so, but again, though, and all if all those things still hold true, how how can organic actually hold on and be viable still if again AI is the default when it comes to what is being found online is where I'm going. Or is that not the case? Because I mean, I've read some things to where that's pointing in the direction of that traditional SEO marketers, for example, are out of not necessarily totally out of work, but because of what's going on with AI now, with Gemini being embedded in Google, for example. So how, I mean, again, help
I think
me understand, Leah. Help me.
I think
How does it work?
how does it work? Well, I don't know, but it was going to work different tomorrow anyway. What I would say is there are some things that used to
Uh,
be true that are probably a little less true today, right? So
yeah.
I think at some point, volume was your friend. Like how much content could you produce would actually weigh your website more heavily than other ones. But now, because AI can be prolific content creator, it is actually doing a reduction. So I think we're going to see less content, but
Yeah.
much cleaner. I think it needs to be. This is the win here is that call and response idea of answers
Hmm.
optimization, right? It's AO. It's not SEO. It's not AIO. It's just answers optimization. It's
Okay.
AO,
Got it. Okay.
and that will hold true in both traditional SEO and AI search, right? Because I think what you're going to find out is that whoever can answer the question most directly and cleanly that's being asked is the one that's going to get surfaced to the top. Because even, our friends here with Gemini cite their sources now. They learn from their early mistakes
Yeah, they right, right,
and
right.
they cite their sources. And so you really want to be one of those sources, right?
All of them do that now, right? Claude, OpenAI, they all cite sources, which is well, which is you still have to verify especially if
Oh,
you're doing you
for
still have to
sure.
verify, especially doing research. But so then what? So then what? Based on all of that, so employers need to make sure they're refreshing content on their career site, right, and their jobs.
Yep. And they're writing nice, clean content that answers questions that candidates have about either the kind of work that they have available or the kind of company that they are providing, the work environment that they provide.
which
So,
is
really,
which is, by the way, the primary content besides the job itself, which again, what you just said, candidates aren't really reading, but besides the interest in whatever the job is, our data, it's they are what they are consuming. They want to know what it's like to work there. They want to understand the values. They want to understand what's going on in the marketplace. Just a variety of things, flexibility for them. So that is something that sometimes companies put up and then it's just static for a little bit too long too, right? I mean,
yeah,
eh,
100%. I mean, I think
yeah,
this is the problem with all websites, right?
yeah.
You put it up and you kind of forget about it for a while, and then you come and you do your blog, and your blog is your
Right,
refreshed
that's the
content,
refresh
right?
content. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We're
But
redoing our surveil blog right now. I mean, our website right now as well.
you're like, we're
So,
updating our blog right now. Like every week we do it. But that's it, right? That's where we update content. And that is a behavior that a lot of companies are we're in it too. You're not alone, right? But that's where you need to be more intentional. It says, all right, every month we're going to make 5 changes on these 3 pages, right?
yeah,
And try to continually invest in the conversation with your audience. And you're going to have to do it via these AI search engines, let's call them. I mean, I think that's it. It's simple like that. And then there's the other pieces, right? There's your brand and your brand awareness. We were
yep.
just you and I were just talking about Glassdoor ratings versus Indeed ratings, and I don't know which one is better or worse for you as a company. I don't know, but I do know that when you really dig into it, a lot of that information isn't easily exposed to these search engines. So it's
Right.
the thing to think about, right? I don't ever see when you go searching your Glassdoor rating on a Google or a Gemini response, right? They're not really providing that data out to the
No.
market.
Well, and isn't that right? Because that's only some of that is publicly visible too, though. They want because Glassdoor wants you to log in as a
100%.
as a user. The same, I think the same with Indeed too. So the the thing about then what I've also noticed, because hiring has been much lower in the past year. What
Yeah,
we've
I mean, was
we've
it?
talked about anything. There has
Yep.
been there is a reinvestment that I know the companies we work with and their employer brand too. And those that are doing either the benchmark or the continuous feedback with the Surveil platform, there's definitely much more interest to it that if they're getting high ratings from certain candidates, then they're encouraging those candidates in our functionality to then post on Glassdoor
Right.
and or Indeed, and that's helping to kind of boost them up and only asking the positive ratings, which that's how it works as well too. So no, you definitely you've taught me many things
Ah.
today. Yeah, you always do, but you've taught me many things. But so again, just the besides what we just recommended for employers. So organic, it's not dead, but
No.
it is still intertwined with AI though, more
Yeah,
so than it's ever been.
100%. But I do think I say a lot of times organic on a job board is
Yeah,
just math. It's just
right,
math,
right, 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 right.
right?
Sure.
You have more people interested in a type of job than the job than that kind of job is being sponsored, right? That is simply it's just math. And so when you have too much of the candidate volume and not enough of the job volume, there is going to be some organic spillover. That's how you end up with organic candidates. Um, in your data set, just because they just have too many people who want or are interested than jobs that are companies are willing to sponsor for. So that's just a math problem.
Got it.
And that will ebb and flow for two reasons. It'll ebb and flow just because of the market and the conditions, but it'll also ebb and flow because of the dial, right? You can always lower your cost per as a job board to bring down the number of organic candidates because you just change out the
Sure.
algorithm
Got it.
basically.
Got it. Got it.
But on the other side, SEO and AI optimization, as long as they haven't figured out how to charge people for that yet, which uh, who knows, probably will. Um, for now, that is really about rethinking how your job and your career site are talking to those systems. And I think it's a thing we don't really spend a lot of energy on because honestly, as recruiters and recruiting teams, we're already busy as recruiters and therapists and now we're technology experts and
Yeah.
lawyers and we have to be versed in GDPR and oh by the way now you need to be recruitment marketer but also like not just really a recruitment marketer, you kind of have to be an actual marketer. And now do you know how to work Google, right? Like
Well,
it's
that's also why for larger mid-sized to global enterprises that still have some complexity to their teams, they've also specialized in that regard. So smaller companies, maybe they're wearing all those hats, but
yeah.
they've also specialized. And I've seen a couple of different things. I don't know again the validity of it because I haven't gone to verify it. That recruiter job openings are actually up supposedly. Again, haven't dug too much into that yet, and which is
Hmm.
kind of, I don't know, that's kind of counterintuitive based on hiring, actually, even with the March jobs report, but we'll see where that goes. I hope that's good news, but
Interesting statement, Kevin. I
that
didn't
remains to be.
notice that.
Yeah, I've seen two posts. Again, I just didn't have a chance to dig into it, that
I
recruiter
oh
job openings have supposedly gone up, but again, I haven't verified that. I've just saw two
I
postings.
will say that the time to fill has gone up. I saw that significantly. We
Yeah,
saw from like 40 days to like 68 days
yeah.
now on a time to fill, which also, your number of applications per job has gone up. And if the adoption of automated screening has not gone up, which I definitely see a lot of interest without as much execution on that front, right? We're seeing a lot
Yeah,
of people interested, not executing yet. It just probably takes more manpower to get through
agreed.
these
Yeah.
these
Well,
positions.
that's yes, and that's boy, we should talk about that one the next time too, actually. Of what again we've touched on it before, but how it's going. But just so we get it, but just time to wrap, Leah, as usual. Thank you so much for again helping me learn of
Oh,
all these
I
things. No,
think
I always have a
goes
great
both ways.
we have a great conversation, and we appreciate everybody listening and getting synced with the talent sync, and we hope you keep listening. And Leah, as always, it's been a pleasure, and we will see you again soon.
See you later. Bye now.
Okay. Thank you for listening to the Talent Sync podcast, a Surveil Candy and Job Sync collaboration. More episodes soon. Subscribe to our podcast via your favorite podcast player today, and stay synced with the Talent Sync.